Video games are just, they're art in motion that you can play. There's art everywhere in video games. Like, there's art in the storyline, there's visual art, which is the most obvious. And then when you get into the development of video games, there's the concept art behind it, character art. Like, it's just art everywhere. It's a playable art piece.
I think people dismiss a little bit that part of the video games just because I think that there's still that way of thinking that video games is a waste of time, which I personally think it's not. And I think that's why people dismiss it as a form of art when it should be the other way around, because without the art you wouldn't have the video game to begin with. And like I mentioned earlier, is like not even the art itself for the video game should be, you can just point at that and be like, that's art. Everyone knows that's art because that's how it's defined. That's how we're taught to know that that is art. If it's a drawing, people instantly think that's art. But I think it's better to understand that the video game in a whole is art, because it's not just the artistic process when it comes to the video game, but it's the teamwork that went into it, for example. Cassandra Zamorano. I am 21 years old and I go to George Brown for game development.
I'm Terry. I'm a game designer at George Brown College, and I hope to specialize in modeling and concept art.
I think that for me, an art form is anything that involves a creative process. I think that's the most simple way to put it is I'm an artist because I take time to get what's in my head out and put it on paper so that I can share it with other people. And I think that the whole process behind it itself, I think that's very artsy per se. Because art, I don't think it's something that you can just point at it and be like, that's art. No, it's not just that final illustration that's art, it's everything that's behind it. It's the process that the artist had to go through to actually get to that destination, right?
I think art to me is something that brings about an emotional response or something that you can connect with, something you can feel like the artist's creativity coming from.
My name is Max Dean. I'm a visual artist and I work in Toronto. Basically, if you think of art as a conversation, and so I'm in conversation with Robert Irwin as I'm in conversation with my own peers here and younger and older artists, for example, like Da Vinci and Duchamp, all of these people. So I'm just part of a long continuum of a conversation. The point of it being you want to propel something forward. It has to be meaningful, at least to me.
Everything has its beginning, but it doesn't start at one. It starts long before that, in chaos. The world is born from zero.
What are they? I mean, that's a good question. I mean, it's a really good question. What I perceive them as being is like, you know, first off, let's look at what it is. It's video and games. Okay, so what's a game? So what constitutes a game? So for me, you got to figure out what that means, right? And then you figure out, okay, the form of it is like the conveyor or the conveyance of them happens to be video, right? There have been games since the beginning of time. There will be games forever because we love to play in that way like that. So is play tied up with the game? What exactly is going on inside something like that? So, I mean, I'm fascinated with what attracts people and why they're drawn to it and why they would, want to play it. For example, the whole Pokemon thing that's going on at the moment is like, this is a really kind of new kind of like phenomena, right? Like that's happening, right? Which I'm not, I'm sit on the edge of it and watch it.
Forget about us. Live for yourself. And find a new lease on life.
Well, my father is it's not that he's not supportive, he's more of a neutral person. But they do support me, although they don't entirely understand how it works, if that makes sense.
I think they're definitely supportive of it because of the fact that like girls are getting into the industry, and they're very supportive about the fact that like maybe this is becoming a real career that people can make money in, especially since this has been statistically shown to be a career that's really going up in recent years in popularity.
I think I was kind of a bit of a precocious kid, so I was kind of all over the place. So I think the fact that it kept me busy and off the street, so to speak, was enough for them. I think my mother was particularly kind of, interested in what I was doing and, was quite encouraging. My father was a little more kind of like, so to speak, concerned about my well-being. I think the power is with the people, is that you as an individual get to respond to something, and you at some point can create the context for it.
I'm of the opinion that I just do whatever I want, and whoever likes it likes it. Who doesn't, you can look somewhere else, I guess.
Video games as an art is in its infancy. It needs some time to grow on people, perhaps, for them to get used to it.
I'm always looking for comments. I'm always want to hear what people say. Do they like it? Do they dislike it? What would they do different? All those kinds of things that are open. I don't necessarily need to embrace them or take them on, but I want to hear them.
We have like street art now. We have different genres of art we've never seen before, and this is just one of those new genres that maybe people will have to get used to. I see it as art.
This is good.